Whatever. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new idea that I've started. We're gonna be doing restorations on here now. I have a couple in the pipeline that are very exciting, but we started off very slow. I got a Game Boy Color here that does not work. We're gonna get downstairs to my workbench area, and we're gonna see what's going on with it. Alrighty, we are at my workstation. So this is future me. I just wanted to give you kind of a delving into all of what's going on here. So this Game Boy did not work. They claimed that it did not work. So yeah, so they said it didn't work. But it looked really, really clean, deceptively clean. It still looks deceptively clean. It's missing the battery cover, which we expect at this point. It's a Game Boy. A child owned it. So let's just see what's going on with it. It could use a little bit of cleaning, but it's not too bad at this point. So we're going to test it with my trusty copy of Pokemon Blue that I've put way too many hours in. And it turns on. It fires right up. So now this has gotten me a little bit confused. But there's no sound. So now we'll start delving into that. First check, anytime you have a Game Boy with no sound, check the headphone jack. Lo and behold, we have life. So that means that part of the circuit is working. So now we need to move on to why it won't use a speaker. All right, it's time to get this thing taken apart. The Game Boy is just 6 tri-wing screws. They started using tri-wings at this point, and it's relatively easy to get into. So here we're going to try cleaning button. It doesn't always work, but it's worth a shot to do it to give it a better chance. So even after cleaning, we have nothing. So we're going to try to use the headphone jack to see if the jack is dirty, to see if it's not letting the signal pass through. So as of right now, we figured out that is not the case. So I have isolated up to this point that it is a speaker itself and it'll need to be swapped. Removing the speaker is pretty easy. It's just 2 wires that you have to solder. Gonna get taken out and deal with. Gotta fiddle with it a little bit here. So I need some helping hands at some point to use, but once we get through it, it's pretty easy to take it out. And I don't have another speaker. At least not at this location. I had to go and get one. So we're going to jerry-rig something up just to test here real quick. So right here, what I have in my hands is an original Game Boy speaker. This isn't going to be long-term. This is just to see if it works. I want to figure out if it works before I buy a bunch of parts and do all that and get it done. Because if it's not this, there's something seriously wrong with this board. Putting it back together with the speaker jankily hanging out of the board, we can get it tested. And as you can see, we have life again on the speaker. So we need a new speaker to swap out. All right, so fast forward to another day. We have a speaker. We have a new speaker. Well, not new. I pulled it off a Game Boy Pocket. That is going to be a restoration for another day. But a new speaker is on its way. I just wanted to make sure that this was going to fix it. So right here, we're working on getting the new speaker soldered in. And it's not going great. The holes don't want to cooperate. But we get there. We get there eventually. I believe now it is fully in. So now we are ready to test. All right, so now we got it back together enough just to test it, and we're going to see, does it make a noise? Success. So this Game Boy was said to be in a lot worse condition than it was. They said it didn't work, it didn't do anything, and we have everything back together, and it has sound now. So here is the Game Boy Color in all of its glory. It does work. Get the sound up. I don't know if you were even able to hear it, but it does have sound. Probably not, but it does work. It's a shame it doesn't have a battery cover, though. But I did think of that. So you can finish the Game Boy. Battery cover. It matches really well. We got it off of Amazon. But yeah. So this one was really easy. It didn't need any kind of cleaning. It was in great shape. So it seems like the person just, the speaker quit and they just went, it's broken. But they said it didn't turn on, so I'm not sure. But if you liked this video, you can like, comment, subscribe, and we're going to have more restorations on the way. Thank you for watching.